Hey everyone, welcome back to fineLEARN. I am Kostuvi and in this NCERT series on ancient history, today we will go through chapter 11 where we discuss about the foreign invasions in India, right? We'll talk about the Iranian invasions and the Mecedonian invasions, but we'll do it in two parts. Today in this lecture we will talk about Iranian invasions and in the next we will discuss the Mecedonian invasions, right? Now before talking about the Iranian invasions today, first I would like to summarize some of the points that we have learned throughout this lecture series. Because when we try to summarize the points, we try to actually connect the facts and the dots that we have learned, right? And when we connect the facts, we have a clear picture in our mind. And this clear picture actually helps in understanding the things quite easily, right? And not just understanding, it also helps us in remembering the things easily, right? So let us first talk about the background of these invasions. Okay, we will try to summarize some of the points, right? Now, if you have gone through the previous lectures, you by now will have some idea about the importance of the northwestern part of India, right? The northwestern part of India. While talking about the geographical setting of India in the third chapter, we discussed how northwestern part of India is important for the different invasions, right? Because towards the north and towards the northeast, what do we have? We have the Himalayan mountain ranges, right? I also have a map here on the side for your reference, alright? But the letters might be quite small, you need not stress on the letters here. I have just used it for a reference and I'll go on saying the things as we move on, right? So towards the north and the northeast, we have the Himalayan mountain ranges. Now these strong or the large Himalayan mountain ranges, they provide a natural barrier to the invasions, right? And when we talk of the peninsular part of India, we have India covered on three sides by water, right? On three sides by water. So, the northwestern part of India that we have, where we have the Suleiman mountain ranges, the Hindu Kush mountain ranges on the northwestern part, right? This part is important in terms of invasions that occurred in India, right? Now, the mountain passes that we have here, the Suleiman and the Hindu Kush mountain ranges, these mountain ranges, they have several passes in them. Okay, passes, that is the mountain passes or gaps between the mountains. These gaps were actually used by different people or groups of people to enter India through the northwestern part, right? Now, if you remember, we talked about the Harappan civilization which flourished in the northwestern part of India, right? That is the Indus region. Then we talked about the Rigvedic period. When we talk about the early Aryans, right? Even the Aryans, they entered India through the northwestern part, right? They entered through the northwestern part. They entered through these passes. These passes actually facilitate two-way traffic, right? So, after the early Aryans, we have the Aryans coming to India in groups, right? Now, when we come to the later Vedic period, right? The Aryans, they started now slowly moving towards eastwards, right? From the northwestern part, now they slowly move to eastwards. And now, they have settled or they have occupied the Gangetic plains, right? They have occupied the Gangetic plains. Then when we talk about the 6th century BC, this period is very important in the history of ancient India. In the 6th century BC, that is towards the later part of the later Vedic period, right? We have the emergence of different religious principles or new religious ideas, out of which Buddhism and Jainism emerged as two important or popular religions, right? We have discussed these in detail in our previous lectures, right? Now, during the 6th century BC, as we have records from some of the Buddhist texts, we find the growth of several Janapadas or territories, right? Janapadas or territories. During this period, we have the growth of territories on the northeastern part of India, right? Several territories, and out of these, we have 16 large territories which are called the 16 Mahajanapadas, right? 16 Mahajanapadas. We have talked about the Mahajanapadas in our previous lectures. Now, when talking about the Mahajanapadas, we have Magadha Mahajanapada, right? On the map, you can see located somewhere here in the areas of Bihar, Patna, Gaya, that area, right? Magadha Mahajanapada, it emerged out as the most powerful kingdom, right? How? It tried to conquer the neighboring areas. It tried to conquer the neighboring states, like it conquered Anga, it conquered Kosala, it conquered Avanti. So, in this way, Magadha conquered several territories and itself emerged out as the most powerful kingdom, right? So this was the thing that was happening towards the northeastern part of India, right? Northeastern part of India. Now during the same period, that is the 6th century BC, if we talk about the northwestern part of India, that is this area, okay, northwestern part of India on the map, here also we have several smaller territories. We can talk about Gandhara, Kamboja, Madra. You can locate them on the map here. Gandhara is here, Kamboja is here, Madra is here. These are some of the smaller kingdoms that are there on the northwestern part of India. But unlike the northeastern part of India, in this area, we do not find a powerful or an organized kingdom like Magadha, right? Such a powerful kingdom was absent in this area, whereas the smaller territories which were there, although they were rich, but they kept on quarreling with each other, right? They were into fights with each other, and such a big empire like Magadha could not emerge out of these states, right? So the result was that the passes that we talked about, for example, we have the Khyber Pass, the Gomai Pass, these are there in the Suleiman and the Hindkush mountain ranges. Now these mountain passes, they remain unguarded, right? They remain unguarded. The smaller territories of the northwestern part of India, they failed to actually provide a joint front to these passes, okay? So the passes, as they remained unguarded, it was easier for the invasions, okay, or easier for the invaders to enter India through this northwestern part, right? So this is why we have the most of the invasions through this northwestern part of India. So we now know how important the northwestern part of India is, right? So this is some of the background that we have here. Okay, so we have covered these 4 points. The area was wealthy and accessible through mountain passes, but because there was a lack of guard against the invasions, so most of the invasions happened through these passes. Now we will move on to the Iranian invasions, right? Iranian invasions. Now, as we have seen in our previous slide, that there was a kind of political disunity, right? Political disunity on the northwest frontier of India. Now, taking advantage of this political disunity, the Iranians, right, or the Achaemenian rulers, or the rulers of the Achaemenid Empire. Achaemenid Empire is one of the earliest empires of Iran, right, or Persia. So the rulers of Iran, or the Achaemenian rulers, they penetrated India through the northwestern passes, right? So they entered into northwest India. Now when we talk of the Iranian invasions, first invader that we can talk about was Cyrus, okay? Cyrus, who tried to conquer some of the frontiers or some of the states in the borderline, that is in the northwestern frontier of India. Now, after Cyrus, we have, this is important, we have Darius I, an Iranian ruler who made some real advance into India, right? And in 516 BC, he was able to annex Punjab, west of the Indus, and Sindh, right? And these areas together formed a province of Iran, right? Provinces in Iran, they are also called as satrapies, okay? Satrapies of Iran. Iran had a total of 28 satrapies, and out of these 28 satrapies, this portion of India, that is Punjab, west of Indus, and Sindh, they together formed the 20th province of Iran. 20th province of Iran. And this area, as we have discussed, is quite wealthy and rich, and this area itself, okay, this area of Punjab, Indus, and Sindh, they together actually provided 1/3 of the total revenue which Iran received from all of its Asian provinces, counted together, right? So we can now understand how important this province was for the Iranians, right, in terms of wealth, right? Now, after annexing these areas of India into the Achaemenid Empire, the Indian subjects were also enrolled in the Iranian army in their wars against different other provinces, right? For example, we have Xerxes, who was a successor of Darius I. Xerxes, he employed the Indians in their war against the Greeks, right? So Indians were again employed in Iranian wars with their other rivals, right? And these parts of India that were acquired by Darius I, they continued to be a part of the Iranian Empire until we have Alexander's invasion in India. Right, we will talk about that again in detail in our next lecture, right? How these portions were, or these territories were again conquered by Alexander. Alright. Now, after talking about the Iranian invasion, we will try to see how this Iranian contact with India has affected or has impacted or influenced the Indian culture, right? Like the Indian trade, Indian trade and commerce. Then we can talk of Indian culture like the literature, sculpture, architecture, etc. Right? Now, Indo-Iranian contact actually lasted for around 200 years. Alright, around 200 years, and this contact actually gave or improved the impetus of the Indo-Iranian trade and commerce. And we have evidence of Iranian coins that were found in the northwestern region of India. Right, and the presence of Iranian coins in the northwestern frontier shows that there was some kind of trade going on between India and Iran. Right. Now, the Iranians, they have also influenced the Indian culture. Iranians, they brought into India a script, okay, that is the Kharoshti script. Kharoshti script, we have talked about this earlier. Kharoshti script is written from right to left. Significance of it is written from right to left, just like Arabic. Right, and the use of Kharoshti script was not just during the Iranian period in India, but also Kharoshti script continued to be used in India even in the later period. Like if we talk of the Mauryan period, Kharoshti script was used even then. Right. For example, some of the Ashokan inscriptions, Ashoka, the Mauryan ruler, some of the Ashokan inscriptions that were found in the northwestern part of India, they were written in Kharoshti. All right. Now, the Iranians also influenced the Mauryan sculpture, right? Sculpture. For example, the bell-shaped capitals of the monuments of Ashoka. Now, if you can just have a look at the image on the right, this is an image of the lion capital of Ashoka from Sarnath, right? Now, here, this portion, it is called the capital, okay? That is on top of the column. We have a capital, which this looks like an inverted bell, right? It has the shape of an inverted bell and it's made of inverted lotus petals, right? Inverted lotus petals. And this bell-shaped capital is actually influenced from some Iranian models, okay? So, an example of influence of Iranian on Indian sculpture. Now, there was also an influence of Iranian literature on Ashoka's edicts or the preambles of his edicts and also the words that were used in them. Right, there were similarities in some of the words used on Ashoka edicts, okay, with Iranian texts, right. Now, this is how Iranians have influenced the Indian art and architecture, right. Now, from the Iranians actually, when we talk of Cyrus or we talk of Darius I, these people, when they invaded India, from these invasions or from the Iranian rulers, now the other foreigners like the Greeks or the rulers of the Macedonian Empire, they came to know about India, right? They came to know about India's riches and India's wealth, and they were also now tempted to march towards India, right? So this is how actually the Iranian contact has led to other foreign invasions, right? From the Iranians, the Greeks learned about India, and thus later this led to the Alexander's invasion of India. Right, and we will talk in detail about Alexander's invasion in the next lecture, right? So this is about the Iranian invasion. Hope by now you understood the importance of the northwestern part of India, how these invasions occurred in northwestern part of India, and what are the effects of such invasions on Indian literature and culture, right? So with this, we conclude the Iranian invasions, and in the next lecture will be a continuation of the chapter 2, chapter 11. We will talk of the Macedonian invasions or the Greek invasions, right? Hope this video was useful for you, right? If you have any comments or feedback, do let me know in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, keep learning, and take good care of yourselves. Thank you.